Yo, what's popping, Jimbos? This is the first episode of a new series of guides made for people that are just starting to get into speed clears, or those who want but are not sure where to start. Today, I'll be talking about the professions and their use in various speed clears and skills that you will need to obtain in order to participate. Each speed clear is going to be represented by their respective end boss. Whenever I'll be referring to all of the dungeons, I'll be using a picture of the dungeon end chest. Not everyone has every character maxed out, but don't worry, there is an area for every profession. Let's start with assassins, as they're the most common. They have a place in all of the most popular dungeons. Most of their skills on their bar are dedicated to sustaining damage and movement. The rest of the space is utilized for whatever suits the occasion. Usually they are used as gators and tanks in Shards of Ore, Bogroots, Rragars, Ravens, Slavers, Frostmaw, Fow, and DOA. They can be used as lap tank in Underworld, although Mesmers are far better at that job. Sometimes a whole area is done with just assassins, because they are so versatile. In the Catacombs of Kathandrax, in combination with the usual tank abilities, you bring along damaging skills such as dagger spam or evas, or every member of the team, maximizing the damage output for the last boss. Similar thing can be used to run Urgoz, where assassins bring along some range skills to deal damage to enemies from distance. Honestly, there's not a lot of space for warriors these days. They've been majorly outclassed by dervishes many years ago, but they still can be used in some areas. The most notable one is Deep. Warrior is a key element there. Because of his high armor rating, he takes significantly less damage than any other class would, and that's why he is used there as a tank/spiker. The second and the last option for a warrior is Bogroots. They can be interchangeable with dervishes because the spikes aren't as demanding as in other areas. In Shards of Ore, Rangers serve as the main source of damage to the final boss of the dungeon. Their ability to stand out of his reach and deal lots of damage in a short period of time makes them the best for that role. In Fow and Underworld, Rangers are used as Terras. Terras are a combination of a tank and a damage dealer. They have skills that allow them to both sustain damage and deal it in a way that makes it possible for them to do certain parts of an area alone. Monks, our healer class, have been outdone by Necro Rit heroes in general PvE scenario. However, there is a very strong skill that only a player can use. Seed of Life heals all party members whenever the bearer of the enchantment takes damage, basically negating all the incoming attacks. Monks are used in speed clears that expose party members to high amount of pressure. They're used as a support role in Domain of Anguish, Deep, some variations of Fow, and Urgoz. Necromancer. Remember when I said that there is a place for every profession in speed clears? Well, that is not really the case for a Necromancer. Similarly to warriors, they are used only as a variation for other roles, for example assassin necros in dungeons, like Shards of Ore, Kathandrax, Frostmaw, and Ravens. They can be also used as a replacement for Mesmer spikers. The only case where they have their unique role is in Deep, and that is a support damage dealer.
Mesmer.
How about armor ignoring damage on a class with low cast time and cooldown of their skills? Yep, it's as ridiculous as it sounds. That's why Mesmers fill in the spot for a ranged spiker in almost every possible scenario. They are used in DOA, Deep, Underworld, and some variations of Urgoz as a ranged damage dealer, and as a Terra and lap tank in Underworld. Although those two jobs can be done by other professions, Mesmers are undoubtedly the best at them. Elementalist. Even though almost all of their skills are about dealing damage, they're mostly used as a bonder healer and are the best at it. In DOA and Underworld they serve exactly that role. Although they can be used as a Terra in the latter one, as previously said, Mesmers are far better at that. Similarly to Necromancer, they can be used as a replacement for an Assassin Gator in Shards of Ore and a Terra in Fow. Ritualist. They are mostly used as a support damage dealer. In Bogroots they help to spike the last boss, and in Underworld they are used to support the main team and to speed up Doom. Paragon is a support class used mainly in areas requiring running through groups of enemies like Bogroots, Deep, and some variations of Urgoz. Dervish. They're the strongest melee spiker class. Usually their whole bar is dedicated to spiking skills, and that's why they're doing just that in areas as following: Fow, Bogroots, Rragars, Ravens, Slavers, Frostmaw, and the Deep. In Shards of Ore, half of their skill bar consists of damage dealing abilities, and the other one to support Rangers for the final boss part of the run. Now, let's rate these by their difficulty. I'll briefly explain what each difficulty means to me. Easy rolls allow you to make lots of mistakes, and at the same time the team can finish the run without you if necessary. These rolls do not have to be included in the roster in order for the run to be successful. Paragons are mainly put into team comps to make it easier to move through enemies for people without spell protection. They're just an addition to make it a bit easier. It's most definitely doable without them. For Shards of Ore, both Rangers and the Dervish will definitely slow the team down if one of them happens to die, but it certainly won't have an effect on the success rate. The same goes for Ritualist and Bogroots. He deals a lot of damage to the last boss, but that's about it. If he's not present, nothing really changes. The dungeon is still very much as quick as it can be, it's a matter of couple of seconds. It's a bit different for Underworld. You very much can make your team fail, but your tasks are very simple and I can't imagine anyone do something gravely wrong when he's following the directions, and that's why I still decided to put him in this category. Medium difficulty. It allows you to make some mistakes and not have a major influence on the run. It's required to have some knowledge about the area and Guild Wars mechanics. All the assassins and dungeons are pretty straightforward. After trying it one time, you should have a general idea of what to do. The same goes for Urgoz, with the exception that it's in your hands to stay alive. The team will finish the run without you regardless. It's also the case for the Dervish roles in dungeons. Monk roles require some knowledge, but their presence is solely dedicated to supporting their team. You'll be following them and perform simple tasks. It's an easy but somewhat responsible role, and that's why I decided to put it in this category. If we bring Mesmers to Urgoz, usually you will have enough of them that if one isn't experienced, there won't be any issues. However, you need coordination and follow directions well, not to slow down the run. Once again, I wasn't sure if I should mention Mesmer use in Underworld in this category, but I decided that the Spiker role is simple enough that when all the steps are being followed, there shouldn't be any problems during the run. Although a lot depends on you, it's not something undoable for someone who has a general idea about what to do. When it comes to difficult roles, I decided to mention those that runs depend on a lot. There is still some room for mistakes, but they usually have bigger consequences than in other cases. While the assigned use tasks are not hard to complete, the experience and knowledge of the area is key to be successful. Elementalists in both DOA and Underworld are the backbone of the team. They keep their members alive and protected and require both mechanical and area knowledge to be done properly. They're not hard to perform, but you really have to know what you're doing. Their limits are going to be tested every time something goes wrong. Dervishes and Rangers in FAO require to perform some of their tasks alone. If you make a mistake, you drag your team down significantly. There usually won't be anyone who you can depend on to cover up your mistakes while you're performing your role. Even though the run will go on, it will take time to fix it. Those roles are usually the ones that split from the rest of the team to do most suitable quests on their own. They require significant mechanical and area knowledge to be done correctly. Mesmers in DOA are in this category because their jobs are organized in a way to perform different tasks at certain parts of the run. Even though they're together, for the most part, the success of a run can be decided by every each of them. It requires experience and knowledge of the area to make it go smoothly. In my opinion, very difficult roles are the ones that have the rest of the members of the team depend on you completely. They require extensive experience and knowledge of the area. Game mechanics are natural at this point. There is almost no room for mistakes. Everything you do may have an influence on the course of the run. Both tank roles in DOA are the people that make things happen. They enable the rest of the team to perform their job and depend on you to do things correctly. You have to know what everyone's job is to really know what you're supposed to be doing. All Terras and Lab Tank in Underworld are the core of the team. Their jobs consist of completing individual quests. They cooperate and rely on each other and the rest of the team. There's high risk to every action you take. Every mistake can cost you the whole run, or in case of solo roles, it will slow down the run significantly. That'll be it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my ratings, and feel free to add your own. I'm hoping to allow a new wave of players into speed clears by making them seem more accessible with these guides. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.